time to sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey guys, what's going on? Lee Sanders with you all for a new edition of the RCWR show, coming to you for this Monday night of January 26, 2026. I wonder if there was some type of a special promotional deal going on, because it's very rare you get a kick-ass date like that. Probably not, mainly due to the snowstorm that hit all of the Midwest, definitely on the East Coast. Hopefully you guys have done your due diligence to stay safe, stay warm. You didn't do too much shoveling. I know I shuffled a decent amount yesterday, and man, my back was paying for it before I even went to sleep that night. And I finally just had to suck it up and take a shower a couple of hours ago. And it loosened me up big time. My muscles feel a lot better, but particularly my back feels a lot better because I actually tore a disc many years ago. It was basically when I was in my early 20s when I would work out religiously. And I went about, I would say, 4 to almost 5 years before that torn disc was diagnosed. So very seldom do I aggravate that disc, but man, I was definitely feeling it when I was shoveling the snow and everything. But yeah, I know for a lot of people, they did not have to be concerned about work because the snow was so bad, and that's the thing. Like, depending on where you live, you could have gotten anywhere from 7 inches, 8 inches, 10. I know some areas even got like about 14 inches. But see, the real key was when the overnight temperatures hit, and then you're already hitting those freezing, like, okay, it may be 20 degrees, but the real feel factoring in the snow, it's going to feel like 5 degrees. I know in my area, I think we're kind of almost in the negatives, or we will be within the next couple of hours. So it's freaking ridiculous, let me tell you. What did you think about tonight's WWE RAW? Sound off. Let me know what you thought. You can sound off by posting a comment, or if you want to be quiet, keep it on the hush. We got a poll up on Twitter/X at the RCWR show, and you can vote that way. I'll pop my head later on and see how the voting is coming about. But this was the final WWE RAW as this weekend, Saturday to be exact, 2 p.m. Eastern for those of us living in the U.S. on the East Coast, 11 a.m. on the West Coast. We're going to get the Royal Rumble event coming to us from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. We will preview how that is all looking for you guys later on in the show. What a fun treat that we had going into tonight's WWE RAW, because although things were pretty vague, and I don't blame people that were like, hey, let me try taking a look at the preview for tonight's RAW, and you're going, okay, a tag match to figure out who's going to be the number one contenders. Okay. Oh, women's tag match involving Io, Rhea, Raquel, Liv. Yeah, okay, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I think that was a 6-woman tag match, which we'll talk about that and all the other stuff that went down. But just initially, where you were looking at maybe from the WWE website or your favorite dirt sheet, you're going, yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and skip out on this one. But if you ended up at least checking out the first couple of minutes of tonight's show opener, you were in for a special treat as far as sticking around for the entire broadcast because we got to see in the main event for tonight's Monday Night Raw AJ Styles taking on CM Punk for the very first time in WWE. Let's make sure that we stress that for the very first time in WWE. And it wasn't just any old match, it was a match for CM Punk's World Heavyweight Championship. And I loved how all of this basically came about to kick things off. AJ Styles coming out, and man, by the way, what a phenomenal, no pun intended, but what a phenomenal matchup he had against Shinsuke Nakamura at Saturday night's main event. We did do a post show talking about that match. I jumped out there and said, look, I'm not known to just give out freely match of the year candidates, especially when it's so early to kick off the new calendar year, but I labeled that match Styles had against Nakamura as a match of the year consideration. And boy, I tell you, I really hope a lot of you guys that maybe ended up checking out my Saturday night's main event post show because you're a little bit curious my thoughts, maybe mainly because you didn't watch main event. Hopefully, you went out of your way to check out that match because it was really, really good. So to see AJ Styles fresh off of that, having some last minute choice words for his opponent Gunther at the Royal Rumble, right? Just off that whole weekend high, like, okay, this is good. And I love the ovation that he received from the Toronto crowd there tonight. Really, really great reception and everything. As AJ Styles says, yeah, look, I realize that, as far as my career goes at this weekend's Royal Rumble, my career is on the line. Gunther is hoping to end it, but if I can have this go down my way, I'm not going anywhere. Yeah, it's true. 2026 is supposed to be the year that I retire, but there are so many other opponents that I want to face that I'm hoping that I can face. I mean, hell, I actually want to be a world heavyweight champion one more time before I hang it all up for good. I saw what was going on with John Cena there and how he went out, and I'm kind of going, well, hey, why not me? Right. And so he kind of feels as though his back is the against the wall, but one thing he is certain when it comes to Gunther, and that is Gunther is not phenomenal. And this is when CM Punk interrupts. You're looking at this and you're going, ooh, what have we here? You can kind of smell this a mile away, but you don't want to get too excited because this could obviously go in a different direction and everything. And to our younger wrestling audience out there that maybe needs a little bit of a refresher there for CM Punk and AJ Styles, it's so amazing, and it's really a travesty when you really stop and think about it. Because I know a lot of you guys are probably like, "Wait a minute, so this is the first time within WWE that Punk and Styles are going to be facing each other?" Because we did just put the spoiler out there a couple of minutes ago. But now the question becomes how many times did these men actually face one another one on one outside of WWE, if they did at all? This is where you really have to do your research. You cannot, and I cannot stress it enough. I've said this off and on the past couple of weeks, but I really want to emphasize it here on the show. Do not rely on AI to be helping you out with those answers because AI can make mistakes. I remember there was a football analyst about almost 3 weeks ago that kept giving out this weird stat, and I think it had to do with a team's losing record or something about they never won a championship or a playoff, something like that, something of that magnitude. And fans were promptly correcting him online, letting him know, yo, that's not the case at all. Not sure where you're getting this information from, but the reality is da 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 da. And at first he was ignoring it because I mean he was just like doubling, tripling down on the information that he was giving. But when he finally took a look at his social media feed and realized, oh man, like a lot of people are on my ass right now. This is pretty unanimous what's going on. He finally cross referenced and it was, ooh, shit. And then he revealed that he basically was researching on AI. I know, guys. I know. Trust me. I've played around with AI off and on over the years, trying to understand it, because it definitely has an impact in my respected industry that I'm involved in concerning journalism and media production. And it has so many flaws. It does. So AI, be prepared. AI can tell you a lot of different things. And just out of curiosity, I knew off the top of my head because of the old school wrestling fan that I am, but I was curious how knowledgeable AI was. So I said to AI, hey, how many times have CM Punk and AJ Styles faced one another? And AI told me zero. And I followed up that question. I said, well, I know they never face each other within WWE, but what about in other promotions? Like you're telling me that they never wrestled each other in other, matches, like a tag match, or they never did a singles match one on one? And AI was like, no. And I'm going, and I flat out said to AI, I said, you're a motherfucking liar. Right? So here's the truth. AJ Styles and CM Punk, they have faced each other prior to tonight a grand total of 6 times, minus what they did tonight. Tonight would give you 7, but going into tonight, 6 times one on one. A lot of that was between 2003 to 2004. There was also a couple of tag matches that the guys were involved in where they were opposite opponents in those tag matches as well. But the first documented, first earliest, and shout out to Michael Cole and them because when they went into that main event match, they were very sure to let folks know at home, hey, first time these guys ever locked it up in the ring one on one was 2003. So there's some fun little trivia for you guys when it's all said and done. But I love how CM Punk basically came out there and pretty much said to Styles, hey, look, I mean, I know that you got this match coming up against Gunther at the Royal Rumble, but man, I'm toying with the idea that what if at the Royal Rumble, that's it. Your career is over. And AJ was kind of taking that as so you don't think I'm going to be able to beat Gunther? You don't think I can get the job done? And CM Punk is saying, no, no, no. I know you can get the job done. Hell, we all had watched you in that match against Gunther the other week, and you made him tap out. But unfortunately, when it was all said and done, it wasn't your hand that was raised as the victor. But we definitely know that you can beat Gunther. But what I'm mainly concerned about is some of these matchups that you were hoping to have, getting that shot for a world championship, trying to become a world champion one more time. Well, none of that is really going to be possible if Gunther beats you this weekend. To which AJ Styles, again, he's kind of like a little bit slow here, but the fans in attendance in Toronto, they're getting the gist of what Punk is saying. And AJ, I think he was just being bashful, okay? Just OG Willikers, right? I just think it was just a coy that was going on there. But basically, Punk was like, look, let me lay it out for you, dude. Like, how about you, me, one on one? Because everybody knows I'm a fighting champion. I said when I won this that I was going to be a fighting champion. So, how about you and me, one on one here tonight in Toronto? And AJ Styles was like, "Yo, I'm down with that. Let's do it. I definitely want to face you, right? Let's do it." But Punk let him know, "Hey, if we're gonna be doing this, it isn't gonna just be a one-on-one regular matchup. It's gonna be for the World Heavyweight Championship, which obviously fans in Toronto screaming with the light. AJ Styles, he's down for it. So." Later on in the night, we found out from Adam Pearce that it was official. This was going to be our main event. Now, I've seen other CM Punk, AJ Styles matches, obviously, as far as how this held up, it's really unfair to rate this match compared to the other times that they wrestled because you're talking about a different era. Obviously, you're talking about taking this current era, CM Punk and AJ Styles, and comparing it to work that they did from a whole other era, basically. And I kind of feel like it's a little bit unfair. But if you wanted to look at this as a continuation, right? If you were to just have the ultimate DVD collection of every single time these guys locked up, and you were to say, Lee, with that kind of concept in mind, was this match these guys did here tonight worthy of being put in that DVD compilation, that wrestling compilation? I would say, yeah, what they did was great. Although I gotta admit, I was a little bit concerned about my man there in CM Punk because dude was huffing and puffing, and I'm just going, either this dude is blown the fuck out, like that cardio, lack of, is really kicking his ass, or he is just selling like a mofo right here because and I'm curious how you all thought about this match, but for me personally, I really felt that AJ Styles, especially considering we just saw AJ less than 48 hours ago on Saturday night's main event going up against Shinsuke Nakamura, and Shinsuke, CM Punk are like the same age. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Shinsuke may be a year or two older than CM Punk. I'm actually looking up his age right now because, like, I'm very, very curious what's going on there. And oh yeah, yeah, they're the same. Hang on. So Shinsuke Nakamura is 45 years old, and meanwhile CM Punk is 47. So I was close, but we had to flip it. I figure like, wait, somebody's kind of older than the other one by a couple of years, but it's Punk that's older just by 2 years from Shinsuke Nakamura. But I'm looking at Styles and Nakamura, and that was just lightning in the bottle. I mean, it was smooth like butter. This match Styles had against Punk, I felt as though Styles was playing down a bit to Punk. And you'll see what I'm talking about if you've not watched the match yet. You'll see what I'm talking about. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful or in a bad way, but it just really felt like Styles was kind of, I don't want to say holding back, but when you're watching the match, it's like literally you kind of get the impression, okay, he's respecting his dance partner here. He's realizing that Punk has lost a step or two. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. It comes with age. Okay. 1 minute you're fine, and then the next minute there's some slight stiffness going on and all that other stuff, right? It comes with age, no matter how loose. You can do all the cardio in the world. You can eat all the cholesterol, heart healthy, free, honey nut Cheerios, all you want. Like, Father Time is unfreaking defeated. He just is. All right. He just is. But despite the fact that Punk, kind of looked a bit blown out and everything, it was still a really good, technically sound match. I love the fact that, the way some spots had went down, it gave CM Punk a opportunity to try to catch his breath and just really let the match breathe, feed into that moment that him and Styles have set up for the fans to digest and react to it, and just they're being very methodical with what they were doing in the ring. Now, for some people, again, comparing it to Shinsuke Nakamura, for some people, this may have been a little bit too low of a speed, but I felt the speed was just right, all things considered. It was just right. And I mean, not for nothing, but even though AJ Styles has been doing his best to, lift weights, and obviously the man can still go and all of that, let's not forget AJ Styles, he's the oldest of the three men that we mentioned so far, as AJ is 48. So the fact that he's 48, and, for me, he is like, The only other person that I can think of that is around that age, if not older, and basically could still go. I think about the great HBK Shawn Michaels. That dude, up until we got to one of those first Saudi Arabia shows, you know the one. Shawn Michaels came out of retirement and it was kind of like, dude, that should have never happened. What do you I know you were doing it for the money, but quality quality over quantity, or in this case, dollar bill, y'all. Like, but no, I enjoyed the match. We didn't get a definitive winner. And it's interesting because I felt there was going to be interference, and I was expecting interference to go down, but I was expecting for interference to happen with Gunther for some reason. I'm not sure if a lot of you all were under that same impression as well, but I was expecting Gunther to come out. And it wasn't Gunther. It was not Gunther. Instead, it was Finn Balor who came out, and he basically attacked the living hell out of both men, which pretty much caused for the match to be thrown out. Finn Balor really taking out his frustrations on CM Punk, slamming him over to the fan uh, guard barrier, delivering a series of double drop kicks, crashing Punk's body hard into the barrier, then following it up with a couple of coup de grace from the top turnbuckle, just laying him out. And his reasons, I won't say it was justified, but you do understand the mindset of Finn Balor, because let's really make sure we set this up properly for you guys. Earlier in the night, leading up to this main event match, Finn Balor crossed paths with CM Punk. And Balor says to him, Yo, I thought a lot about what went down with that match from the other week. And I really appreciated you giving me that opportunity. And, you gave me my flowers afterwards. And you know what? I never did say thank you. So allow me to do just that and say thank you. Thank you. And CM Punk was like, dude, I didn't just give you a world heavyweight championship for the hell of it. That's not how I operate. I give out world championships to people I feel earn it. And for everything that you've done in this industry all these years, you definitely earned it. It's like there's not that many guys like you and me that are still running around, in wrestling in general, right? It's like we are in a league of our own. But I tell you what, if you want to dance again, then you know what you got to do. You got to like go to that Royal Rumble, earn that shot, and like I'll see you at WrestleMania. But something else that you need to be thinking about is your future going forward. You still want to continue to mess around with the Judgment Day? I mean, these guys are, if anything, they're kind of holding you back. Like you really need to think pretty hard. You want to continue to be running around behind Dominic Mysterio. You got your own legacy to think about. What is your legacy going to be? So CM Punk left him with some very strong choice words to think about. And if you were with me on last Monday's show, I verbally said word for word, hey, with this match now in the books, Punk has walked out, and just the camaraderie that was showed there between Punk to Balor. How does this shape Balor going forward? Does it now put him at a crossroads with Judgment Day? Where does he go from here? Because obviously, if you're the Judgment Day members, you're gonna go, what the hell was that about? He's just fraternizing there with the enemy. What the hell? I said all of this almost word for word. Go back and check out Monday's show. So to see how this segment of an interaction between these guys played out, and then shortly afterwards, Liv Morgan makes it her business to cross paths with Finn Balor and basically go, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, I saw that little shindig of a conversation you had with CM Punk. What the hell is that about? You let him raise your hand like you're some type of a second place loser, like you're an appreciation trophy or something like that. Like that's not how you should be rolling. Like, and as far as you leaving the Judgment Day, like, dude, we're your family. It shouldn't even be a thought process. To which Finn Balor says to Liv, like, I can't have this conversation with you right now. There's a lot on my mind, a lot I need to be thinking about and everything. I'm not interested in doing this right here, right now. So now, despite the actions we may have seen there from Balor to CM Punk to close out the show, it doesn't necessarily mean that Balor is done with the Judgment Day. But make no mistake about it. Right before Liv Morgan got injured, we saw the friction that was going on there between Liv and Finn Balor. Especially like, you follow the months and months of storytelling, and it kind of seemed as though Liv had a particular vision for the Judgment Day. Finn had a particular vision for the Judgment Day. And when Dominic Mysterio was pissing off any and everybody left and right, this dude had put Finn Balor kind of at a crossroads where Balor was always weakly going to Dominic Mysterio, yo, what are you thinking? You just doing stuff rogue? You just doing stuff on your own without consulting with me? Like, not that you need my permission, but like, we supposed to be a team. We supposed to be on the same page. Like, what the hell? And remember, we saw this displayed greatly when Dominic was the Intercontinental Champion and he got himself into some jams. And Finn Balor's like, well, this is what you get. This is what happens. Now you need to clean up your own mess, right? Like, this is what you get. To when Dominic, I'm talking about when he first started messing around with El Grande Americano, Rayo, Bravo. Finn Balor was the one like, dude, what the hell is going on? What's this arrangement that you got going on here with El Grande Americano? What the hell? Dude, what's this arrangement you got going on with Chad Gable? What the hell? It's like all kinds of those little nuances. Everything just adds up that when you were following the storyline months back, you're going, it's obvious that Judgment Day is kind of being torn apart here from within. And then it really kind of spiraled a little bit when Liv was out with injury, right? She was out due to injury. And then Roxanne Perez came in there. And, it was kind of like that new little wrinkle once again. And so now that Liv Morgan is back, you really just can't help but wonder if you're following this story arc. But I ask the question as the viewer, as the fan, okay, Liv Morgan, are her intentions really sincere right here? Because we know she was trying to essentially lead the Judgment Day. So are her intentions really sincere about Judgment Day being together? Is she now looking at Finn Balor and essentially is going, yo, he's family, he's Judgment Day, no matter how she may have felt about him in the past? Like, that's now water under the bridge. It been water under the bridge, because let's make no mistake about it. Since Liv Morgan has been back, she's had her own ulterior motives, right? And she's just been doing a really good job masking them, but the rest of the Judgment Day members have not really been able to see it, right? So there's a lot that's at play here, and I just think going on that road to WrestleMania is going to make things really, really, like, my 2 cents from a distance. I would not be surprised if in the very near future, not only does Dominic Mysterio come back, but I think the trigger is finally going to get pulled where they will turn on Finn Balor. I've got Dominic turning on Finn Balor, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially if you're trying to get back to basics with Finn Balor being a babyface again and everything. No better person to get him to that point and essentially get to that next level than out of the gate working with a guy like Dominic Mysterio. WWE has already done a really good job just building it in from everything that we just laid out over these past several months. So be interesting to see how things play out going into post Royal Rumble on the road to WrestleMania specifically. So we had all that played out. And then elsewhere, we were talking about Liv Morgan. Hey, kicking off things for tonight's Raw, we had a solid women's tag match. It was a 6-woman tag match as Liv Morgan teamed with Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez to take on Stephanie Vaquer, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley. Nice, fun little opener of a tag match. I gotta say, they really let this match breathe big time, and I appreciated that. These girls, I feel they went about, I think I clocked them in at about 18 minutes, give or take. But a good match. A good match this was. And I just want to go over some additional notes that I have here in regards to this match. The team of Rhea Ripley, Stephanie Vaquer, Io Sky picking up the win here. Felt like a companion piece almost to what had played out with the women's action on Saturday night's main event, with the only exception being, okay, now let's throw in Stephanie Vaquer and Raquel Rodriguez. And I'm fine with that, given the fact that if you watch Saturday night's main event, all these women had clashed. So it makes all the sense in the world that this match pretty much is being ran back, but now you're having two additional folks involved. So I had no problem with this whatsoever. All the ladies hit their spots. Timing was great. Everything looked good. Everything looked good. I totally was down with this matchup. Nice little companion from what we had got from Saturday night's main event. From there, the Vision, along with Paul Heyman. Remember, we had not seen Bron Breakker since he was suspended indefinitely. What was that? A week, maybe almost 2 weeks ago. So Paul Heyman was out there showing evidence of, look, this is where Adam Pearce messed up. We don't need to rehash that. We pretty much know visually as fans, right? We know what had happened that would suggest Adam Pearce kind of messed things up. Heyman welcomes Adam Pearce out, and he had the line of the night when Adam Pearce came out. He said, "Ladies and gentlemen, please stand on your feet, boo Adam Pearce, and give him the middle finger." That was like the hilarious crap I heard there from Paul Heyman. Anyway, Adam Pearce gets in there, and he mans up. He apologizes to Bron Breakker, letting it be known, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I did mess up. I did put my hands on you, and for that, all apologies. Going forward, that will never, ever happen again. And, Paul Heyman's like, okay, that's good. And Pierce is like, I know where you're going, Paul. And hey, look, as far as the suspension goes, it's lifted. Bron Breakker, you are reactivated on the roster. And not just that, but you definitely got a spot in this weekend's Royal Rumble. Heyman likes that, but Pierce wasn't done just yet. Pierce also announces that the other members of the Vision, so Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Austin Theory, they will be in the Royal Rumble as well. And just to add icing on top of that cake, Pierce decides, hey, you know what? Austin Theory, you deserve a little bit of retribution. You deserve some revenge. How about a match one-on-one against Mr. 619 himself, Rey Mysterio? Theory's like, yeah, bring it. So with that, Adam Pearce, his job is done. Rey Mysterio taking on Austin Theory. Now, obviously, you had some of the members of the Vision that were chilling at ringside. Rey Mysterio, luckily, had some backup from Penta and Dragon Lee. Austin Theory picking up the win. Fine. This was more about the angle than anything, and also the return of Bron Breakker from suspension and everything, rather than the match itself. I know post match division, they just turned Rey Mysterio into ground chuck, along with Penta and Lee. Bronson Reed doing his trademark tsunami. Breaker just destroying Lee and Penta with spears, just laying all these guys out. It's good stuff. Good stuff the way that this was all laid out. From there, Natty, remember what we talked about last week, right? I toyed with the idea of Natalia essentially saying, as far as the reason why Natty turned on, what's her name? Maxine Dupree. Remember last week I said, I could see Natty maybe saying something along the lines of, yo, you thought that with the training that you had got from me, that you pretty much, you knew everything that you needed to know, and you used me up, right? That Bill Weathers song that I was trying very desperately to remember the lyrics to, but butchered. I basically was like, yeah, this is where Natty's head is probably going to be at. Kind of on the right track here, as great B-roll footage too that they showed of Natty. Natty talks about how she made Maxine, and that Maxine didn't fail herself, right? She's not to blame for her failure, but rather Maxine failed Natty, saying that Maxine is just like the rest of them, being you think that because you rolled with a legend that you can roll like a legend, right? So like if you really stop and think about it and compare to what we were talking about last Monday, definitely I was on the right track there. As Natty says, yeah, make no mistake about it, Maxine and everybody else on the roster, like that's never gonna happen again. This is a whole new me. And by the time I'm done with you, Maxine, I'm coming for it all, because this was a really great, strong closeout of a promo here. Natalia says, because Natalia elevates, but Natty decimates. Now, I don't know about you guys, but that just kind of, I know something I've been very vocal about, and a lot of you guys have been very vocal about these past several months. Yo, the stuff that Natty is doing on the independents, and she is just pounding a bitch, right? I mean, she's just destroying motherfuckers left and right, with her MMA game and all that. And if you were fortunate enough to see what she was doing for Bloodsport, the Bloodsport promotion and all that, you know what we all are talking about, obviously. I don't know if WWE is like finally tossing us fans a bone and going, oh, you want that blood sport MMA violent Natty? Okay, well, that's what we're going to give you. But I'm down for it. I mean, if that's ultimately what we're going to get here from WWE, I am definitely down for it, just as long as it is very similar to the Natty that's been running around outside of WWE. Like, obviously, WWE's got to put their own little unique spin to it. Like, hey, this is our thing, right? This is our, I hate to say IP, but you know what I mean, right? This is our concept. Obviously, they got to put their official stamp on it and all that. But I'm down for it. I'm down for it. And I know that deep down, a lot of folks are happy that Maxine Dupree now has that Women's Intercontinental Championship off of her, as some people feel she should have never been a champion in the first place, right? We could talk about that another time, but this should be a pretty good program between these two. Meanwhile, Raquel Rodriguez had some choice words backstage with Bailey and Lyra before running fist first into Stephanie Vakir, as the two of them picked up where they basically left off from Saturday night's main event. Officials, refs had to break them up later on. Vakir finds Adam Pearce and says, yo, I want a match against Raquel. Make it happen. So on next Monday's Raw, it's going to be a Philadelphia street fight between Stephanie Vakir and Raquel Rodriguez. I believe the women's championship is going to be on the line. 'Cause I remember Stephanie Vakir telling Pierce, "Yeah, I want to defend this. I want Raquel Rodriguez." So she's getting exactly what she wants. Good stuff right there. Looking forward to that matchup next week. Got a great interview with Michael Cole, sitting down with Gunther. Cole tells him that, one thing that's been bugging him is why not have the rematch with AJ? Just do a rematch. Why does AJ have to put his career on the line? And Gunther says it has nothing, he has nothing to gain personally with just a regular rematch. But to up the ante and put AJ's career, that is something special. That is something phenomenal to gain when he ends AJ's career. And Cole says, okay, I hear you, but I mean, Styles wanted 2026 to be the end of his career properly. He wants to wrestle for his fans. He still wants to bring them excitement. He wants to, you know, wrestle folks that, maybe the folks haven't seen before. He's trying to give back to the fans. He's trying to create moments for the fans and all of that. To which Gunther says it would be great to put an end to that just altogether because he's tired of these old timers that are coming in and they're still hanging around. They're still looking for their last moment. And he brings up Bill Goldberg. He brings up John Cena and everything. And that when it comes to AJ Styles, Gunther is not interested in AJ taking any more moments away from him, right? Because for Gunther, all these moments and future moments, they all belong to him. And then he switches it up and talks about Michael Cole. He says, speaking of old timers, Cole, you fall into that category. I want to know, how much longer do you plan on sticking around and chase another moment? And he says to him, I could kick the legs from out of your chair and pretty much in your career right now, but don't worry. Instead, you can settle for this Saturday in Riyadh when I defeat AJ Styles. You will have the pleasure of saying the career of AJ Styles is over. That's going to be memorable. So, Gunther in his element right here with this pre-produced segment. I loved it. I'm glad that they did it like this because honestly, if they would have tried to conduct this in the arena, I mean, great reaction from the crowd, but the message that you're trying to send home to viewers everywhere and really get that, hey, focus here, right? Need your attention on this now. This is some very important context that's being laid down. I'm glad they did it the way that they did it. Speaking of AJ Styles, let's talk a little bit more about AJ because I mean, at this point, we only got one more match to talk about, and then that's pretty much it. So let's just spend a couple of minutes talking about AJ here. So if you're just tuning in, we've already talked about the main event match of the night, which was AJ Styles, CM Punk for the World Heavyweight Championship and everything. But now let's really talk about the fact that reality is now settling. And that is the fact that this weekend, unless there is some type of a curveball that could be coming by WWE, this weekend appears to be AJ Styles' final time in the company. Now, I know Shinsuke Nakamura, he put out a tweet or a social media post that he has since deleted where, and it's worth going out of your way to check out because he had nothing but very kind things to say about AJ Styles. And basically the gist of it, Shinsuke couldn't believe what he was hearing. And so he had a personal conversation with AJ and was like, dude, first of all, are you really going to be retiring? And AJ's like, yeah, I am. And Shinsuke's like, so do you know when your final? And AJ Styles is like, yeah, I know my final date. And AJ told Nakamura Royal Rumble in Riyadh. So, now I've never known Shinsuke Nakamura. I follow him on social media. I have for many years now. I've never known him to do post and delete type of stuff. He's pretty much just in his own little world, just doing his thing. So I do believe that there is some validity to this. Now, there's also a report. I wish I could give credit where credit is due, but it's either between PW Insider or it's the folks over at Fightful. But they had shed a little bit more light on the AJ Styles situation, basically saying that not only is the Royal Rumble like going to be it, but as far as, okay, well, with it being so close to WrestleMania, why not have AJ Styles take a final bow at WrestleMania? And the word is that they don't need AJ Styles for WrestleMania. I'm going, wait a minute. The new Mr. Showstopper or Showstopper number 2, main event number 2, the phenomenal one. Like, you got yourself another version of Shawn Michaels here. Like, wait, you don't want him at WrestleMania? You don't want to give him the grandest stage of them all and bow out on a really big high note? Like, really? This, like, come on. And when I initially saw that report and the Shinsuke Nakamura stuff, there was a big part of me that was convinced, they're going to figure out a way to have AJ Styles continue forward past Royal Rumble. We got nothing to worry about. But then when everything played out the way that it did with CM Punk, I'm going, shit. Like they really are going to do this, aren't they? They are going to. But then you can't help but feel like maybe there's just a little bit of hope that you can hold on to, because to see Finn Balor interrupt AJ Styles and CM Punk's match, and you're like, oh man, this was the first time that these two guys got to wrestle each other in WWE. Oh man, wouldn't it be so cool if we could somehow see these two guys, do this? Like, now it's okay. So who would have won if there wasn't any interference here, right? Now, I don't know about you guys, but there's some serious money and the whole 9 yards on the table with CM Punk, AJ Styles match at a PLE, right? So I don't mind it if you wanted to do a fuck finish the way you did it tonight. But if this weekend is truly going to mark the end of AJ Styles, I'm not really sure how I feel about that, because, you know, I look at Triple H, Paul Levesque, I look at those writers, I look at those bookers, and I just go, this is the best that you could come up with for AJ Styles? Like, you couldn't give this guy. I mean, really stop and think about it. Everybody that has watched WWE Unreal, we're seeing like one guy, two guys, three guys, four guys, five guys, six guys, seven guys, eight guys, one female. So I think 9 to 10 people were watching in that, and like none of them has the backbone to go, think it's a bad idea that we retire AJ. If AJ's willing to ride with us until WrestleMania, we should really put some gasoline on this. Like, the guy, after all, can still go, and we really need to milk this tour for what it's worth here. Like, what the hell? So I'm very conflicted right now. If you were to ask me as it stands right now, do I feel that come this weekend it's going to be the end of AJ Styles? Yes, I feel it's going to be the end of AJ Styles in WWE. I want to stress that. I feel it's going to be the end of AJ Styles in WWE. I have this weird spidey sense of a feeling that WWE is essentially going to go, dude, I just feel there was some type of an arrangement made where AJ is ultimately going to finish up in TNA wrestling. He's going to be a TNA champion one more time. I just feel like that is potentially the direction that we're going to be going. Now, I know some of you guys are like, Lee, dude, don't wish that. Like, no, don't. Right? Especially after the rocky start that TNA had on AMC and everything. But I'm just thinking about some of the seeds that were planted over there in TNA, right? You initially had Frankie Kazarian and AJ Styles. They continue to dance around each other. And if you watch the TNA on AMC premiere, they finally had came face to face with one another after, many years apart and everything. And then the choice words that AJ had there for Santana, telling him to go beat Kazarian and all that. You've definitely laid the seeds down and then rewinded back even further when AJ Styles said to the TNA crowd months before the TNA on AMC premiere, hey, I'll just say, see you guys later, when the fans were chanting one more match. And, he's like, we'll talk about that, at a different time. But, I'll say, see you later for now. It just kind of feels like, AJ is going to be making the transition over to TNA and really help those guys out. That's the impression that I'm getting. If that's the impression that you guys are getting, sound off, let me know, because I tell you what, if it's not a case where AJ Styles is going to be helping out TNA after he gets retired by WWE, like AJ is just done altogether, talk about some of the most baffling booking to date in WWE. Like legit. And I can just picture so many of my colleagues just gnawing the meat off that bone. Like, seriously. We had a number one contenders. Oh, by the way, Finn Balor, right before he beat the holy crap out of Punk and Styles, closing out the show, he runs into Adam Pearce and tells him, yo, I've been thinking a lot about this and everything, especially with Punk had said to me and all that. Look, I want to declare myself for the Royal Rumble. To which Pearce says, appreciate you, but man, we're less than a week away and like spots are filled. Now, this played out on television. Before this played out, though, there was a commercial break during Raw, apparently. You would not see this if you were in the United States. This is where power of the VPN, or if you're just outside of the United States, this is where it comes into play. Adam Pearce announces that Javon Evans is going to be in the Royal Rumble. So obviously you have this happen during a commercial break, and then you follow it up with back to TV, Finn Balor trying to declare himself for the Rumble. Like, no. So you almost are kind of going, so wait, so Balor is mad, but shouldn't he be mad at Javon Evans for taking the spot? Shouldn't Finn Balor be beating the holy crap out of Javon Evans? I'll see you and raise you. He should not only be beating the crap out of Javon Evans, but he should have also done what he did to to Styles and Punk. But then the question going into Royal Rumble is, well, what's the status of Javon Evans? Is Javon Evans going to make it to the Royal Rumble? Is he going to be cleared in time to do this? Or is somebody else going to be taking his place? What's going to happen here with Javon Evans? Something else that WWE did that I wasn't a fan of tonight either, and that is the fact they announced that Oba Femi is going to be in the Royal Rumble. I don't really think you should have made the announcement. That's just me personally. I think you should have just let it be a surprise. I think most fans were already expecting it, but I still like that whole mystery in the air. All right. You don't need to name every single, just let there be a little bit of mystique there and all of that. So there's that. Now let's talk about that last match for the evening, which is the number one contenders match for the WWE men's tag titles. American Made versus Los Americanos versus New Day versus Alpha Academy. Alpha Academy picked up the win. Fun little match. Very surprised that Akira and Otis won. All things considered, I guess WWE is really trying to honor certain story arcs. Because remember, Akira and Otis, kind of got to a point. Hey, we're kind of tired of being looked over. We're a serious threat too as a tag team. We want our respect. We want the smoke. And you think about how they went right up to Jey Uso. Interesting that 2 weeks in a row now, no Jimmy Uso, but we've had Jey Uso pretty much holding down the fort and everything. But no, I'm okay with Otis and Akira Tozawa now the number one contenders. It doesn't mean they're going to automatically get the tag titles. Doesn't mean that automatically. But you know what, guys? Stranger things have happened. Let me tell you that. I'm seeing a little bit of buffering that's happening right now for you guys, but it looks like you guys are okay, so that's good. Just checking out the stream quality, making sure we don't have no any surprise. It looks like we're pretty much good. So beyond that, I think that pretty much was everything for tonight's WWE Raw. Like I said, we already talked about the main event match between Styles and Punk. For those of you that maybe had missed it, um, man, shout out to everybody that was able to attend this show because we got hit with some serious snowstorms here in the United States that also affected up north going towards Canada as well. To get a grand total of 4 matches during 2 plus hours. Two of those matches really good. Of course, I'm talking about Punk and AJ, and then the women's match, the women's 6 woman tag match. Good stuff. Solid promos as well. Great advancement in some key story arcs. Nice setup for the Royal Rumble as well. Nice little go home show that they did. Of course, we've got SmackDown. I know most people kind of clock out when it comes to SmackDown. I totally get it. I understand that. There is some backstage update on the Royal Rumble plans concerning AJ Styles. Um, PW Insider looks like they posted a little bit more information. They are saying that AJ Styles' contract does expire before WrestleMania. This kind of follows up on what I was talking about earlier, but just kind of putting an official stamp on it. Apparently, there were no plans for him to be involved there. And then Dave Meltzer says that Nakamura was told that Styles would retire after Royal Rumble, and there are no plans for Gunther to lose in Saudi Arabia. But Meltzer did note that, plans may still change. So, as far as AJ Styles' retirement plan, it's been said that WWE has known about this for months, and that the Rumble was always a possibility for it. One figures the payday for a retirement match in Saudi Arabia. It must be pretty and yeah. I mean you so many wrestlers that we've heard over the years that have done interviews like, yo, that's Saudi money. That's a great ass payday, man. Like just that one event, like boom, you're done. Just dip out, you're done. So I mean, it would be nice to get AJ saying an official goodbye here back in the States. And it would really give a lot of people that have supported him through all these years on American soil to, make sure that he gets his flowers, WrestleMania in Las Vegas. But it is what it is. Let's go to the polls, see what you guys had thought about tonight's WWE RAW. You can cast your vote over on Twitter/X at the RCWR show. Right now I see a tie at 10%. Wow, we got 2 ties. Hang on here. Wow, you guys voted for nothing but ties this week. This is ridiculous. Okay, so we got 1 tie. 10% of you said skipping Raw this week, and the other half of you said it was a thumbs up. And here's our second tie. 40% of you said it was a middle of the road type of show. Meanwhile, the other half of you, other 40% of you said thumbs down for the show. So you guys are a little bit all over the place on that one. Feel free to cast your vote if you have not voted just yet. But yeah, it's all over the place right now. Speaking of Royal Rumble, yes, I will be live after Royal Rumble concludes. I'll be doing a special live post show. So make sure you tune in, join me for that. I'm hoping that by the time that post show comes down, I'll have like all of my classwork knocked out. I don't really think I'm going to have that much classwork. What's going on? Why did the light indicator just move? Hang on. Did it zoom in on my face? Yes, it did. I hate when it does that. I'm like, minding my own business, and then I just see the light start blinking. I'm like, but I didn't do anything, motherfucker. Hopefully I won't, and I don't think I will have that much classwork because of the snow. Today was supposed to be the beginning of my spring semester of classes, but because of the snow and bad inclement weather, classes got canceled for today. And then like right at about 11:30 this morning, I get an email that said classes for Tuesday canceled. And it's like, oh man, like this really, So I mean, it's good, but then it's like I want to I'm ready to get back on the saddle again, but the last thing I want to do is be out there in really bad weather and everything. And the roads aren't really pre-treated. I mean, we got hit really bad in the DC metropolitan region. There are so many cars that are not able to get out of their driveways. Like we got trucks that are derailed. Trucks need the help of like other trucks, if not bigger trucks, to help get them out of the jams that they're in. It's just really, really bad all together. But yeah, let's preview the Royal Rumble. This is how things are looking right now for Royal Rumble Saturday. Here's the official card. Where is that? I had the card earlier here. Bear with me a second here. Had this card earlier because I was curious about the number of entrants for the men's and women's Royal Rumble. And this is where we're at right now. So we've got AJ Styles versus Gunther, which, as you all know, that's a career-threatening match. Drew McIntyre defends the undisputed WWE Championship against Sami Zayn. We got the men's 30-man Royal Rumble match for a World Championship match at WrestleMania 42. Now, as of tonight, 15 of the 30 entrants have been announced. So far, we know we have Cody Rhodes, Gunther, Jey Uso, Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, Penta, Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Bron Breakker, Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, Austin Theory, Javon Evans, and then Oba Femi. Again, that is 15 of 30 entrants that's been announced for the men's Royal Rumble. Meanwhile, for the women's Royal Rumble, 17 out of 30 entrants have been announced. Women announced so far, we've got Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, Roxanne Perez, Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Bayley, Lyra Valkyria, Asuka, Chelsea Green, Jordan Grace, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Nia Jax, Lash Legend, Julia, Maxine Dupree, and Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch announced herself on tonight's WWE RAW. Now, as far as other names that I can see popping up in this one, and both Royal Rumbles, we're not going to get into that. We'll get into that in a separate joint, basically the Royal Rumble predictions. I'm gonna upload that sometime Tuesday, but that's gonna be a separate special that you guys will be able to check out. All right, and I'll make sure that we have an audio version available for your favorite listening podcast platforms, right? But the way I'm picturing releasing that, we'll do a live video stream that'll be available all throughout social media. As long as you're notified, you subscribe, all that, you'll get the notifications. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, of course, youtube.com/the RCWR show. But yeah, we'll do it that way. And then we'll let the audio version be available like a couple of hours after that. That's how we'll do it. But definitely Tuesday, it's going to be released. So we got that. And then in some other wrestling related news, by the way, I had a great time doing wrestling with the topics with the wifey yesterday. If you guys didn't check that show out, make sure you do. I mean, we went all over the place on that episode. Nice wide range of fun topics. I had checked in with Tams afterwards. I said, "Hey, how you feel? Was that good for you? Did you feel a little bit off your game?" Because I know the one thing that she doesn't like when it comes to that particular show that we do, she doesn't like when we have there be a long gap between shows, because we were talking about it off air, and I said that was like our first show since like November, right? Because we didn't do anything in December. And she's like, "Nah, we didn't do anything in December." I'm like, "And we almost didn't do anything for the month of January." And she's like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Did we do anything for the month of November?" And she was like, "I'm pretty sure we did do something in November." I'm going, "Well, if we did, it must have been early November, because I don't remember us doing anything in November." And to the point, like, I'm actually looking back on the shows right now, trying to see if we actually did do something. And yeah, November 16th was before we did what we did over this past weekend. November 16th was the last time we actually had did a show. So, but she was like, "No, I felt really good. I felt like I didn't have any ring rust. Like, I feel pretty good." I'm like, "Okay, good." And we were trying to figure out, like, was there something we needed to leave out of the show? And it was like, no, it was, considering everything that we covered, it was like, no, it was perfect. So check that out. It was good. That's available wherever you get your podcasts. I know that there was a mention on a wrestling note. There was a mention of this yesterday during the stream. But as I had said, when it comes to the talk of like certain promotions, in this case, New Japan Pro Wrestling, like, Tams don't know nothing about that promotion. So that's kind of like, yeah, we ain't talking about that on that particular series. But for you New Japan Pro Wrestling fans, it looks like the wrestler Evil is set to be leaving the promotion. I guess by the end of this week is when he's pretty much going to be done. Shout out to the good folks over at Fightful. Through their Fightful Select portion, they reported that New Japan Pro Wrestling's Evil could be looking for opportunities outside the Japanese promotions, as on January 25th, NJPW officially announced the wrestler's departure from the company at the end of the month after his current contract expires. And they put out a official statement talking about the whole thing. If you know Evil, that guy has been wrestling since New Japan since 2011. And then he left after about 2 years, but came back in 2015 and pretty much has been with them since. Now, I can't think of the individual's name that had mentioned this news about Evil, but I think what they were trying to do was stir the pot as far as their personal preference, because they had said at the end of the news information, rumor is he's going to be going to WWE. I have not seen anything to the contrary that would even suggest, like, I haven't seen that. I know the guy, he just turned 39, by the way. Today is actually his birthday. At least over here in the US, it's officially his birthday. He was born on January 26th. So he's 39. I mean, we've seen some individuals in their late 30s have some really good success in WWE and everything. I just don't know if Evil is someone that is truly on WWE's radar. You know what I mean? It's kind of one of those deals where, and this isn't me shortchanging Evil by any stretch. Like, I've seen a little bit of his work here and there, right? But he might be just a little bit too short and stature for WWE. I look at him and I just think about, well, who do they kind of already have in WWE that, and automatically I'm thinking about JC Navarro. Is that the guy's name? You know exactly what we're talking about. He's with the MFTs. I'm thinking about him, and he kind of fits that realm, so to speak. Um, I don't know. I don't see him being a success on the main roster. Now, if you were to ask me, could they maybe do something with him in NXT? Could he maybe thrive in NXT? I don't know. And normally when I have that kind of hesitation, I mean, you throw a name at me, I can give you, if I've been checking them out, I can give you an immediate yes or no. But if I'm even hesitating, that's not a good sign. I know he's a former IWGP heavyweight champion, intercontinental champion, never never open weight champion, tag champion. Like, I get it. Trust me, I get it. Um, PWI ranked him somewhere in the 20s a couple of years back for their top 500 singles wrestlers. So, I mean, that's good and everything, but I don't know. I really, really don't know. It could happen just from the simple fact, if the information that's floating around on the web is still true, he is engaged to EO Sky, allegedly. So, I mean, there's that little factor right there. And man, now if you were to maybe bring him in and let EO Sky kind of do for him like Zelina Vega is doing for Herman and Aleister Black, that could potentially work. But just having him come in just by himself cold, I really don't know. I really, really don't know. And I'm looking at more pictures of him online as well. Like, again, the wrestling from this guy, not an issue whatsoever. And I really hope that I've stressed that enough. As far as him as a wrestler, I got no issue. Like, the dude is badass. The dude is badass, and he's got a great look about him. He almost kind of reminds me of a Japanese version of who's that guy? Santos? No, 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 not Santos Escobar. Um, who's the guy that was married to Charlotte Flair? Andrade. He almost kind of reminds me of a Japanese version of Andrade, just a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't mean to keep saying that, but trust me, I am on the fence right now. I think it's just all about who are the people that would be in charge of creative for him, and like, you really need to have something mapped out for this guy over the next 6 months, because you want to be firing on all cylinders if you're WWE and you're able to bring in that international flavor and everything. Elsewhere, TNA Wrestling, I mean, we know they have lost people left and right. They pretty much lost the Iconics on the TNA on AMC Premiere. as those girls basically dropped the Knockouts tag titles and went deuces. You know, their contract and all that was up, so they rolled out. Myron Reed, he's done with TNA. His beautiful wife, Killer Kelly, she is done with TNA Wrestling. She recently confirmed her departure. She also noted that there was a contract extension that was offered, but that she turned it down. She also noted that folks will be seeing her again on TV in the near future. So something is in the works. I love me some Killer Kelly. I really, really do. I love me some Killer Kelly. She is just fucking awesome. One of my absolute favorites. By the time I started watching her, and I'm like, wow, where the hell has this woman been? Like, what the hell? I started going backwards to try to, look up more content of her, more of her matches and everything. And I'm a big fan of her. So I personally would love to see her transition to maybe MLW. I'm not that confident in AEW. I know some people will beg to differ otherwise, and that's, you're entitled to that. Like, but just my personal opinion, like I'm just not really sure about AEW. But if you were to say to me, hey, Killer Kelly in MLW or Killer Kelly, I don't know how a Killer Kelly would work in WWE. And that kind of scares me because normally I'd be able to go, yeah, that'll work. Like, but I'm at a point now where it's kind of like, I guess what my biggest question I have that lingers is Killer Kelly trying to literally continue to do what she been doing, or is this all about just really evolving as a performer, as an entertainer? Because if she's looking to take her game to that next level, then obviously, it's kind of one of those, okay, well then maybe, just maybe, go in the direction of WWE. Like, but I don't know. I don't know. And she is relatively young too. She's 33. Yeah, that reminds me. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, holy shit. I can't believe I almost forgot about that. Yo, she was in the WWE some years back, right? Yeah, she was there like sometime around 2018, 2019, until like, I think she was there for like a quick cup of coffee, like maybe like a year and a half, 2 years or something like that. And if I remember it right, it was something involving the NXT UK Championship or something, like, or the NXT. No, I think it was the NXT Women's Championship. Yeah, I think it was the NXT Women's Championship. And then she competed in the 2018 Mae Young Classic. She lost to Miko Satomura, if I'm not mistaken. So, but she did do something on NXT UK. I think it might have involved Dakota Kai around that time, if my memory serves right. So, and she was shortly released thereafter by WWE. So, looking at that time period of 2017 to 2022, kind of around that Vince McMahon, kind of era and all that. Uh yeah, I don't know. The only way Killer Kelly would work in WWE is the Killer Kelly that's running around right now. Like, that is what you're going to put in, right? That's the only way that would work. And so I don't see her. I'd be shocked if she went back to WWE. I don't think WWE's in the cards. I think we're likely going to be seeing her probably with MLW. Killer Kelly could definitely work for ROH. Definitely for ROH. I would be set on fire if I didn't mention ROH. Speaking of TNA, shout out to Lance Storm. He revealed recently that all the visa issues that were happening in TNA, because remember, Lance Storm is one of the TNA wrestling producers. and he talked about how, as far as the visa issues, all of that hindered the TNA on AMC premiere. He said that visas for the talents and staff not based in the USA came through on January 21st. And Storm added that he will not be back with TNA until February, saying that unfortunately, no, I'm not going to be at TNA tapings in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The good news is visas came through finally, but they came through yesterday evening, several hours after I would need to be in the air already. And getting in today would be a 12-hour, probably very expensive flight to get me in quite late. So the decision was made that with my travel plans canceled, I remain home this loop. Others may have managed to get in, but at least the visa issue is behind us and we can move forward. And hopefully, you know, he's talking about the second show that they did, which was really great. Now, they were still having audio issues. Still had the whole tin can audio effect, watered down, muddled. Still had those issues, especially when it came to Aiden English and Tom Hannafin talking into the microphones when the show first opened up. Tom's mic sounded really good. Aiden English, something sounded really wrong with his mic. It sounded like there was like a loose cord and something needed to be plugged in, but there was definitely still some very noticeable audio issues for that show. But that to the side, and I hope that they can get that fixed with the next show or two. But despite that, they actually put on a really good show, better quality in the matches, better production overall, better B-roll footage that they rolled. A lot of stuff that collectively the wrestling community was complaining about, including yours truly, and offering ways of improvement. It looks like TNA on that second episode went in the right direction. And remember, that was a Feast or Fired edition of TNA. I want to give you guys the quick results for what all had happened on TNA. Here we go. So we had we had Cedric Alexander losing to Moose. Mike Santana, nice passionate promo there that he had with the fans, basically sharing a voice message he had got from his dad right before his dad's passing. Basically, hey, look, you deserve to be champion. Don't let nobody, tell you otherwise and all that. And Santana basically was like, I don't care if you're Nick Nemeth, if you're Frankie Kazarian, like whoever, you trying to step up, take the crown, take your shot. Like, I'm here. Come with it, right? That basically was his message. And it looks like Mustafa Ali is maybe trying to slide into a future program with the Hardys, way that's kind of looking. Indy Hartwell defeated M by elegance. That match was a little bit of a clusterfuck, and not because of Indy. Not because of Indy. That's not me being harsh towards M by elegance, but there's definitely a pattern here, man. Definitely a pattern here. Post match from that, Ash stops H and M from attacking Indy, and this had set up Zaya Brookside and Lee Ying Lee to back up Ash. Then Ash ended up attacking those girls, Zaya and Indy, to join the Elegance brand and giving those girls a beat down. For Feast or Fired, as far as the guys that got briefcases, trying to see how we can, if I remember it right. Yes. Yeah, I wrote it down in my notes. Correct. Trey Miguel, who apparently is now signed with TNA Wrestling. It's interesting the difference a few days make, because, I was here on the show last and I said, man, we went over all the stuff that happened with somebody higher up there in Warner Brothers Discovery. kind of similar to what happened with Jay Briscoe, and pretty much was like, nope. And it just makes everybody involved in AEW look kind of foolish, doesn't it? Like you would just think that, like, this for me, it's just, I'm old school like this, but fool me once, shame on you twice. But like, there doesn't need to be a third time. And it's like, okay, this is twice now that rank has been pulled. And I'm not a fan of rank being pulled here, because now more than ever, I'm trying to make sure that going forward, there's not going to be a third time where I'm hiring somebody and then only for a higher power to step in and go, yeah, this hiring, this ain't happening. So if I'm Tony Khan and everybody else in AEW, I think going forward now more than ever, this needs to be the case where not only is there the Tony Khan AEW process, but there also needs to be that kickback to the Warner Brothers people and make sure that, like, okay, are we missing something? Did we do something wrong here? Are we missing something? And if everything gets cleared with Warner Brothers, then you go on ahead. Because when you stop and think about it, it comes off unprofessional, comes off unprepared. Oh yeah, we're gonna hire all these people. Yeah, come on. And then you have somebody go, well, these three guys are fine, but this one guy over here, no. And then what's even more crazier is the fact that, Zachary Wentz, for all the stuff that he had went through, the fact that they were able, this higher power was able to go, well, okay with Zachary Wentz. Yeah, that's fine. But with the stuff that went down with Trey Miguel, ooh, wee, spicy, right? Very, very spicy. I've always been a firm believer, and if you're gonna act one way, then you need to be consistent, like throughout. Like for me, there's, okay, so you committed a crime. It's like, I mean, I guess it's like, okay, so when you were 5 years old, you stole a candy bar from a local grocery store. Okay, well, we're not going to use that to, right? That's obviously a one of those, right? But like, heaven forbid. Let me see if I got this straight. So in the case of Zachary Wentz, who went through what he was going through with Kimberly and the posts, the photos that was put out there, the anti-Semitism look of it, and whatever you want to call it. So we can that's fine. But with what Trey Miguel put out there, remarks towards basically the LGBTQ plus community, stuff involving David Starr. And then I think there was something that happened in like 2020, unless I'm talking about kind of the same thing. You're just going, man, this kind of feels so fucking wrong to a degree, right? It really does when you stop and think about it, because by Warner Brothers Discovery's standard in their hiring process, you feel me? It's baffling. It's really baffling. I'm trying to wrap my head around it, but if I continue to, I'm just gonna drive myself crazy. I know some of you guys are probably driving yourselves crazy too, just wrapping your head around it. But it is what it is. Trey Miguel, Steve Macklin, Eric Young, Eddie Edwards each captured a briefcase. Now I think they already taped this coming week's episode last week, so this is the week we're gonna know each of those briefcases, what all of those guys got and everything. Jeff Hardy defeated Mustafa Ali one-on-one. Bronson, Bear Bronson, he's introduced as the newest member of the system. Myers, Eddie Edwards, and Bronson turn on Moose and JDC. Cedric Alexander, he comes in for the save, but hits Moose from behind. So looks like the system has kicked out Moose and JDC. with Cedric and Bronson. So kind of a interesting development right there. Meanwhile, Alana Black, aka Cora J, she says she's the only knockout that matters. We're going to be seeing her wrestle next Thursday, or this coming Thursday, I should say. So that's all the stuff that went down from last week's TNA Impact on AMC. It was a really good show. Again, if you guys didn't get a chance to check that out, definitely check it out. I heard that they, for their AMC debut, they did 173,000 viewership. Pretty low, right? I mean, it'll be interesting to see, like, what we've come to know, just the history of it and all that. When there is great interest for a particular show, viewership, it's going to be good for that particular episode. And you can normally expect for there to be a drop by about 15, 20%. We aren't going to really know the steady baseline of, okay, this is the hardcore fans right here. Like, no matter what, they're always going to hit this number. This is what TNA can depend on for AMC going forward. Like, we know for a fact when it comes to TNA, I'm sorry, not TNA, but AEW, Dynamite, for example, like, we know, like, bare minimum, 500,000 fans are always going to represent, and they're going to check them out, some wrestling on Wednesday nights. I would expect the norm for TNA on AMC to be, I think the norm is going to be maybe somewhere between 100 to 115,000. Just let a couple of more weeks pass, and I think that's going to be the new norm. Other than that, what else? Shout out to Joe Tessitore. Congratulations to him. He has a new gig. Apparently, he's going to be the play-by-play announcer for Zuffa Boxing. So, double duty there. So, congratulations to him for that. I think I might try to watch some Zuffa Boxing just so I can hear what's going on with the man on commentary and all that. By now, many of you guys are aware, WWE, they have, if you're a gamer, there is a lot of news that's going on with WWE 2K26, particularly what's going on with the pre-orders. That's pretty much available right now. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that I got to share with you right now. So right now we got the dates for WWE 2K26, the full reveal, pre-orders opening, that's been set. Some gameplay hints, some special editions that's paying homage to the Attitude Era as well. So the way this is looking, the pre-order for the Monday Night Raw War Edition, that's going to be dropping January 30th. Pre-orders begin on January 30th. And basically the front cover, you got Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, Undertaker, Triple H, Kurt Angle, Chyna, and then right up under that, you've got Eric Bischoff, Booker T, Goldberg, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, right? NWO, basically. Notice that, they put Eric Bischoff down there, but there's no Vince McMahon. And yes, we know the controversy, but like, when you think about it, like, this is one cover that they're doing, and then they have a Attitude Edition cover that's going to be available as well. And you're like, huh? And like, everybody is saying the same thing, which I don't blame folks that's saying this, but it's okay. So how are they going to handle the whole Vince McMahon situation? Like, are they going to act like this dude, like, doesn't even exist? Like, never even happened? Like, how are you going to, or is he quietly just going to be made available? And right, because remember, there's been a couple of 2K games where people have tried to make Vince McMahon I know some people had there were some codes, the entrance, everything was locked for Vince McMahon when the scandal initially came out, and they just through a software update made sure he wasn't available. But people have found the coding, and they put him in the game anyway. And people had their 2K accounts terminated. You know, they were suspended and all that. So kind of interesting what's going on there. So we got that. 2K's official website, they've dropped some hints at what will be included in the game through cryptic images and random objects, it looks like. So some interesting little clues that you guys can have with that one. And then also, so we mentioned the Attitude Era cover, right? There's an Attitude Era cover. You got the Monday Night War cover. They also have a Triple H King of Kings cover that they just unveiled earlier today. Do we really need a Triple H King of Kings? Like, I know eventually they're going to reveal the superstar, the lone superstar cover edition, you know, which is nice and all that. But again, the question becomes, do we really need a Triple H cover? I don't really think we do. The guy is pretty much everywhere when it's all said and done. Like, it's like, damn, dude, you know, we need a break from your trips. Like, you know, it sucks that we don't get to watch you wrestle anymore for our personal enjoyment and all that. You know, your years removed and everything, but it just the optics looks wrong, doesn't it? It does kind of look wrong. But then again, if you're a hardcore Triple H fan, then you're not really gonna mind this. You really aren't. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in regards to 2K26 here. So right now it's estimated that this game is possibly going to be dropping by March 31st for those of you that, you know, want to have some type of an idea. That's what's going on there. And then for 2K26, there's going to be a showcase mode that'll be dedicated to the career of CM Punk. I'm very curious about that game mode because they go through some interesting what if scenarios. The biggest one being, what if CM Punk going back to 2014? What if he didn't leave the WWE? How would that have looked out during that period leading up to when he finally returned to the WWE? I'm very curious to see how that will play. And I'm really hoping that the powers that be, the creative minds at 2K, I really hope that they also address what if CM Punk would have wrestled Stone Cold Steve Austin. How would that have looked? How would that have came together? I really hope that we get to see that, and I hope that Stone Cold Steve Austin is a good sport. And if he hasn't already laid down some vocals, I'm hoping that he has done something in anticipation of this, because that would be very, very interesting. Now, we do know for a fact that this particular game mode for the career of CM Punk, it is going to be narrated by Punk, and it's going to have a curated selection of some of his most iconic matches from his career. So that's going to be good. That on top of if he never left WWE in 2014, that makes some really good stuff. There's also a create history section that's going to be showcasing dream matches that CM Punk never had the opportunity to compete in during his WWE run. So again, you're thinking about Stone Cold Steve Austin. I personally would have loved it if we could have seen CM Punk and Shawn Michaels in a damn good feud one-on-one with each other. We never did, for the whatever respective reason, we never did get that definitive, okay, let's go, HBK and Punk going at it. We never got that. I would have personally loved to seen that one. And then, you know what? It just, it's got me wanting to go down memory lane right now, which is WWE roster. And yeah, let's just say 2014 to let's just go up to 2022. Let's just do that. Let's just do that real quick. Let's see. Here we go. I'm looking at a link. No, no, no. Okay, this was in 2022. Oh, nice. Yes, yes. There's a website that I actually was able to find. That's great. Okay, so let's do it like this. Let's go back to, let's just go to 20. Hang on here, guys. There we go. Perfect. So I got it set on January 15th. I'm sorry, January 1st, 2015. Okay. I'm looking at the roster from 2015. And so far, all the people that I'm looking at. Yeah, he did not get a chance to wrestle him, did he? One name that's sticking out to me like a sore thumb right now, CM Punk, Bray Wyatt. That would have been very interesting, wouldn't it? Wow. So you're telling me they never collided? Are you serious? No, I refuse. No, no. CM Punk had to have done something with Bray Wyatt, right? Hang on here. I refuse to believe that. Hang on. Let's see here. Yeah, CM Punk and Daniel Bryan versus the Wyatt family, 2013. Okay, I'm like, wait a minute here. Like, wait a minute. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Let's jump ahead a little bit more then. Let's go 20. Let me just look at this roster again. You know, not for nothing. An interesting program between Punk and Corey Graves. That's definitely something. Because I'm still looking at the roster from 2015. But Corey Graves and CM Punk, their careers kind of seem so parallel. And I remember way back when, like, so many people were ripping on Corey Graves, calling him a CM Punk knockoff and everything. I remember that. Damian Sandow would have been another good opponent too. I feel that really would have been interesting under the right circumstances. All right, let's see what was going on there in 2016 here. I'm curious. Nobody really. That would have been interesting. I don't. Hang on. Nobody in 2016. Actually, you know what? Enzo Amore. Enzo Amore would have been a good one. John Bradshaw Layfield. That definitely would have been a good one as well. Huh, Rich Swann. That would have been good. Let's see here. How do you guys fare a Ric Flair CM Punk feud would have done? Not to mention William Regal and Punk. That definitely there's something magical right there. That would have been pretty good as well. I'll look at two more of these. Just two more of these. Let's go to 2017. This is fun to do. You guys should play around with this. Shout out to the folks over at the SmackDown Hotel. You can just put in the roster for that respective year, and you can see for yourself and kind of get an idea of, you know, what you possibly could have expected to see had Punk stuck around. Definitely a program with Bobby Roode. That would have been very interesting. Brian Kendrick. I would have loved to seen a Punk Brian Kendrick feud. Let's see. He put on some weight, but under the right circumstances, Chris Hero and Punk would have been a damn good one as well. Let's see here. I'm still looking. Hideo Hatami. Hideo Hatami. Fuck yeah. Hideo Hatami. You just gotta, yeah. Yeah. Boy, the online back and forth that was going on between those two guys. Yeah. That's a whole nother show right there almost. All right, I'm looking at 2018 now. We'll close it out on 2018. Wow. We need to see that in the future. I just came across in 2018 Aleister Black, and I'm just going, yo, Punk, Aleister Black, like, we need to make that happen at some point in 2026. That'd be a damn good program. Let's see here. I'm in 2018. Nobody is really jumping out at me right now. CM Punk and Jinder Mahal. Right circumstances, that would be pretty good. Kyle O'Reilly. That would have been good. Neville. Yeah, Neville. Neville for sure. Let's see here. Let's do one more. Let's do one more year. Absolutely one more year. Let's see here. This is fun to do. I actually like this. You guys should really play around with this. So I'm going to end it on 2019, and then you guys can pretty much go from there, okay? So let's see, out of curiosity, how 2019 was looking. Adam Cole. Yep. That'd be a good one. Under the right circumstances, Bo Dallas would have been a good one as well. I would have gone with the Psycho. All you got to do is Bo leave, Bo Dallas. I would have gone with that version. You know, it never happened, but can we give an honorable mention to Booker T? I think Booker T and Punk would have been able to do something very memorable. Very memorable. Talk about two creative guys. They definitely would have been able to do something. Let's see here. I'm still going through 2019 here. Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargano. Jordan Delvin. Keith Lee. Oh, fuck yeah. Kurt Angle. But see, timing is everything. You got to be quick there. You got to be quick there. Because, I mean, he was just, I don't like to use the word deteriorating, but that's exactly what was going on before our very eyes. Punk and Riddle. Hi. Punk and Riddle. That'd be interesting, right? That'd be very interesting. Percy Watson. That's hilarious. Percy Watson. Ricochet. Ricochet. Yes, hands down Ricochet. Right circumstances, Shelton Benjamin, too. That definitely gets my nod. Shelton Benjamin. I think. Ooh, CM Punk. And before all the controversy went down, Velveteen Dream. That definitely would have been something pretty interesting there. Barring no controversies at that time, that would have been a very interesting matchup there. All right, so you guys got the gist. You can now play around with the rest of the years at your own accord. And shout out to Mike Straw of Insider Gaming. He's noting that based on his reports, 2K26 is going to introduce four new match types: I Quit matches, Inferno matches, Three Stages of Hell, and a dumpster match. The Three Stages of Hell match was last featured in SmackDown vs. Raw 2006. Match consists of three consecutive stipulations and has recently been used on WWE programming, of course, as you all know. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good what they're getting ready to embark on there. Apparently, there's going to be a draft that's going to be implemented in the universe mode. And apparently, there's going to be some additional gameplay improvements announced. Looks like in regards to the shopping cart and thumbtacks is being teased to be added as weapons. So that's all the limited but new information that we know so far. I'm sure as it gets a little bit closer, we're going to have more information. So looking forward to that. And then if you are playing your WWE Supercard, there is some new stuff that is around the corner. I know that there is going to be a update that's going to go down this Wednesday. Again, there's going to be a new update for WWE Supercard coming up this Wednesday. And as part of the update, we're going to be getting a new tier. So remember the last tier that came out, it was static, and that was pretty fun, playing with the new cards there for static. That was pretty good. But shout out to WWE Supercard and Supercard News over on Twitter/X. They're showing off the new Royal Rumble 2026 rarity. And they look pretty cool. So go check that out when you guys get a chance. And this is that time right now where if you guys haven't been playing WWE Supercard in a while, you want to get yourself nice and ready for that new tier when it drops. Like, this is the time right now to be playing it. Will I be playing 2K26 when it drops? I'm going to do like I did last time, which I know for 25, I never picked it up. I did pick up 24, loosely played around with it, but that basically was it. I did end up downloading the new WWE mobile joint that came out a while back for the phone. If you have Netflix and all that, you could basically get it for free. Kind of played around with that for like a couple of minutes and like haven't picked it up since. So if I were to pick up 2K26, it would have to be a situation where there's so much hype, there's so much buzz, everything just out of the gate is awesome when it comes to the game. That's the only way I could see myself kind of going, okay, let me get in on the action here. As far as any games I'm anticipating playing for this year, no. I mean, the Grand Theft Auto, that's kind of piquing my interest a little bit. I didn't fully play the last Grand Theft Auto all the way though, because there was just the buzzkill for me, microtransactions after microtransactions. It was just major buzzkill for me. So I'm watching this next Grand Theft Auto game very carefully, trying to see how this is gonna go down, if it's gonna follow in suit with the microtransactions galore, or if they're gonna tone it down a bit. But there's really nothing that is on my radar. So please, folks, don't come at me and go, hey, I recommend you play this, or I recommend you play that. Because, I mean, truth be told, I really don't have the free time like that these days to sit down and play a video game. I'm lucky that I'm playing when I'm playing on my mobile phone or on my tablet between classes, homework, all that stuff. So, and push come to shove, I still have my Xbox Series X. And if I want to just play something for a couple of minutes, like, I'll do it. I know I had finally played my Meta Quest 3S headset. I tried playing the new Batman game. And the 3 times that I was trying to play it, I almost collapsed on the floor, ready to puke. And wifey was just laughing her ass off, 'cause she had to help sit me down and all that. It was the funniest thing, and apparently it's real. I wasn't being a wuss. Apparently it's real when you've never played like a VR headset game for extended periods of time, like it can really come at you hard. Those first couple of seconds there come at you hard. I chose the wrong words there, forgive me. But badoosh. Hey, before we get ready to dip, shout out to our sponsors and friends of the show. Without y'all, wouldn't be made possible. Definitely major shout out to our sponsors, particularly content like what you're checking out right now would not be made possible. Shout out to our friends over at bitesite.ai/get. Bitesite is an AI powered nutrition tracking app that helps you understand what you're eating in seconds. Just snap a photo of your meal and Bitesite instantly analyzes calories, macros, and nutrients using advanced image recognition and food intelligence. This is great for everyday users, fitness enthusiasts, and anyone looking to make smarter food choices for your health. The RCWR show with Lee Sanders is also brought to you in part by Katrina's Spiritual Counseling.com. She's backed with over 20 years experience. Whether you need advice when it comes to love, relationships, family, financial matters, her sessions provide straightforward, no sugar coating insight. I'm sure many of you guys appreciate someone like that. Hit her up, KatrinaSpiritualCounseling.com. You can also give her a call at 877-275-7562. Once again, that's 877-275-7562. So again, Tuesday, look out for Royal Rumble predictions, and then this weekend we will have the Royal Rumble live post show on Saturday. Check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads wherever you get your podcast. Just search the RCWR show. Also available on social media where you can give me a follow using the same keywords. And until next go around, wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I'll see you next time. Peace.